my name is Jennifer Hampson. I am at the University of Winchester studying a Masters in Animal Welfare, Ethics and Law. Today I am going to discuss the welfare of assistance animals. In this presentation, I will cover the types of assistance animal available, the role of these assistance animals, the key welfare concerns facing them, how to improve welfare, and the current legal protection offered to them, with a primary focus on dogs as assistance animals due to them being the most commonly used. According to Assistance Dogs UK, over 7,000 disabled people in the UK rely on assistance dog to help them with practical tasks and offer emotional support. In 2018, Bremhurst et al. Discovered there was only 5 peer-reviewed scientific journal publications examining assistance dog welfare. Those that were found focused heavily on the quality of the relationship between the owner and dog, assuming that a strong connection meant that the owner would prioritise the dog's welfare. However, there is no evidence proving this. Oftentimes, the papers that look into assistance animals and welfare, there is a greater focus on the welfare of the person receiving the animal and how their life will be improved, but not the impact it has on the dogs, demonstrating that the welfare of assistance animals is an understudied subject. In this PowerPoint, I would like to consider some of the key welfare concerns that assistant animals may face in their life, mainly focusing on assistance dogs. Types of assistance animal. The primary animal used as an assistance animal is a dog, due to their gentle nature, loyalty, and ability to be trained. Service animals are highly trained assistants that have specific jobs to help their companions. There are guide dogs for the blind, hearing dogs, mobility assistance dogs, seizure alert dogs, diabetes detection dogs, medical alert dogs, and even autism dogs, all of which perform slightly different roles depending on the need of their handler. Therapy animals provide psychological and physiological assistance to individuals and are similar to service animals but have different legal designations. Emotional support animals do not require specialised training but provide emotional support to disabled individuals. All of these fall under the category of assistance animal, which will be used as a blanket term for the rest of this presentation. Dogs are not the only animals being used for assistance though. In more recent years, particularly in the United States, capuchin monkeys have been used to help paralysed individuals with daily tasks, and people have started using assistance ponies to help guide the blind. These are a solution for those who are allergic to or have a fear of dogs. The first of which assistance ponies came to the UK was called Digby, and he arrived in 2018, although they have been established in the United States for much longer. The benefits of guide ponies is a much longer lifespan, calm nature, focused demeanour, high stamina, and more. However, it does take longer to train them, and they are herd animals and so may experience poor welfare through not having the companionship of the same species. Role of assistance animals. Guide dogs exist to help people who are blind, partially sighted, and hard of hearing or deaf. There has also been the development of assistance dogs who enhance the independence of people with reduced mobility and physical disabilities. They provide functional assistance such as something to lean on, also companionship, and positively influence socialization for the handler. Accredited assistance dogs will have been trained to behave well in public, have safe and reliable temperaments, be physically healthy, fully toilet trained, and regularly checked by veterinarians. They are accompanied by a handler who is trained in how to work alongside their assistance animal and have a recognizable harness and ID tag. In this role, there are benefits to the dog. They have a daily routine with plenty of play activities, especially if they're working alongside children. Many of the dogs respond well to having the routine and appear to understand that when their harness is on, it's time to work. Although, humans do need to remember that it is an interdependent relationship. The dog is not there out of their free choice, and therefore it needs to be a mutually beneficial connection. Key welfare concerns. Stress. One of the most desired characteristics in assistance dogs is their ability to cope with emotional distress in order to avoid unexpected reactions that might put their owner in danger. Assistance animals are often expected to work for extended periods of time in highly stressful environments such as busy streets, crowded areas, and to navigate complicated pathways and perform challenging tasks with little opportunity to rest. They go through extensive training to prevent a natural reaction and to remain calm in unknown situations. This training does not mean they do not experience high levels of stress in these situations. Instead, it makes it harder to gauge their true reaction which can result in their welfare being overlooked because they appear fine on the outside. It can also lead to chronic stress, which will impact their overall health. In response to this, Ando et al. Mapped the stress experience during the training stages of guide dogs. Through measuring serum cortisol along with the nerve growth factors and magnesium ions, which are common stress markers, dogs who were in the beginning stages of their training had the lowest serum and magnesium levels and were understood to be under mental stress from their new surroundings. In contrast, the dogs in the advanced stages of the classes who had already undergone training showed high levels, though they demonstrated as mentally stable and acclimated to their environment, providing that this could be a successful way of comprehending the type of stress a dog is in. You can see the map created from the study on this slide. It demonstrates that trainee dogs in the elementary stage had the lowest level and greatest fluctuations in magnesium, whereas advanced dogs maintained a relatively consistent high level no matter the length of training, reporting that there is a reduction of fear and anxiety due to habituation in working dogs. However, the blood NGF levels may reflect the mental and emotional strain of the dog. Therefore, it is particularly important to monitor dogs for stress at the beginning stages of their training. In most of the articles written about assistance dogs and stress, it is usually in conjunction with their ability to work, such as stress may make them less reliable in their work, or on the impact that it may have on the dog-owner relationship, rather than the impact of stress on the dog's welfare. In a study performed by Fulani et al. In 2007, assistance dogs were seen to have lower stress response when in proximity to their owner, with a lower heart rate and low cortisol response, and whilst they showed restrained behavioural reactions to mild environmental changes, their physiological responses remained robust and similar to those of pet dogs, demonstrating that they are not immune to the effects of stress. Changes to social and physical environment. Throughout their career, an assistance dog will face many changes to its environment. At the beginning, they will be placed within a foster home, which is full of stimulation and activity, as they try to expose the puppy to as much as possible and help desensitize it before training. After this, they will be placed into kennels, often for months at a time, for the final stages of their training, before they get assigned to a home. In these kennels, it is very barren, with minimal enrichment. Finally, when it is time for them to retire, or they are no longer required as an assistance animal, they are adopted out, uprooting them from their current home and social connections into new environments. It was found by Serpell that whilst physical welfare needs of the dogs were met and monitored, the psychological ones of all these changes were rarely mitigated, despite them being highly stressful for individuals. Furthermore, there is the negative impact of changing handlers throughout the course of their career, from training through to retirement. Assistance animals are picked out because they seek out social interaction with others, forming strong bonds of attachment with human partners. Subsequently, the severing of these connections lead to high stress levels when moving between handlers. Moreover, not all assistance animal handlers have first-hand knowledge of their animal's needs. It may be their first time owning a dog, and in some cases someone else has requested they receive an animal. Therefore, they might be able to meet the basic needs of hygiene, veterinary attention and training, but not the animal's social needs. Routine. As mentioned before, assistance dogs work to a routine and appear to respond well to it. This means when there is a change in daily routine, or are they put into a home with different or less structured routine, the dog's welfare will be reduced. Freedom to express natural behaviour is often overlooked or not met. Assistance dogs lack control. Whilst it is found that they benefit from having a daily routine, they have little control over their social lives, nor can they avoid or escape unwelcome or unpleasant social intrusions. Hubrecht found that denying animals control over their physical and social environment has adverse effects on their physical and mental well-being. It also fails to comply with the fifth of Bramble's 5 freedoms, as they are unable to express their behaviours. They have been retrained to remain calm and not respond to aversive stimuli. This has also limited opportunity to go run and play with other members of their species. Moreover, the primary caregiver may not understand the social and behavioural needs of their dog. Retirement. The average working life of a guide dog is 6 to 7 years, with them normally being retired at the age of 10 to 11 years old, depending on their health and workload. Many dogs, as they get older, show signs of cognitive and physical impairment, disorientation, failure to recognise individuals, restlessness and house soiling, impacting their ability to perform their role. Once retired, a dog can stay with its owner so long as someone else is around to care for it, or a new home will be nominated, initially being offered to those involved in its training and development. However, if none of those people can take it on, it will be put into a rehousing scheme, once again resulting in a change in environment and social bonds, which become harder to form and more impactful depending on the age of the dog. But it is more than just a change in environment, it's a change in routine. Even if the dog remains in the same home, it is no longer following the same structure to its day, which can be detrimental. One account from Aubrey Fine showed that even though physically her dog was slowing and struggling to keep up, she remained eager to work, thus suggesting that a stop to working would be distressing and result in negative welfare. Improving welfare. Reducing stress. If an animal is going to be exposed to a new environment or crowded place, then a plan needs to be created beforehand to reduce the effect of demands on the dog's welfare. Moreover, if unexpected situations arise, the status of the animal must be assessed and the necessary changes implemented to ensure that their effect on the animal is mitigated, ensuring there is minimal impact on their well-being. Handler training. Through teaching the handler how to respond to the dog's needs, not just physical but psychological, they need to understand the correct nutrition, exercise and health needs of their dog, but also to recognise their dog's subtle behavioural signs of stress and discomfort. This would greatly enhance the dog's mental well-being. Furthermore, to acknowledge that they have social needs and that have to be met outside of working. Retirement. The negative effects of retirement can be mitigated through careful planning. Over time, the dog's schedule can be reduced, allowing them to continue working but in a way that is manageable. Fine claims that providing a quiet space for them to go to during the day can be beneficial, reducing the physical impact but enabling them to still maintain some semblance of structure. Gradually, the length of these days can be shortened until it is no longer distressing for them to remain at home and they can enjoy a thorough retirement. External enrichment. Many people forget that the dog needs downtime after working for the day, as well as requiring a different form of enrichment. Some examples of external enrichment provided by Guide Dogs UK are chew toys, as chew toys help them relax the dog, a tug or retrieve game, hide and fight games, all of which are beneficial to their mental health and help strengthen the human-animal bond. Legal protection. A lot of the laws referring to assistance dogs appear to be aimed at the humans and gaining them as much independence and access as possible, rather than on the protection of assistance dogs and their welfare. The main law including assistance animals is the Equality Act 2010, which makes it illegal for service providers to treat people with disabilities less favourably because of their disability or because they have an assistance dog with them. Despite having a long history, there are few comprehensive laws addressing assistance animals, with national laws being fragmented and insufficient across the EU. This in particular makes it hard to travel with assistance animals due to countries having different restrictions. All certified charities that work with and provide assistance dogs have the ability to withdraw a dog from work if they are not adequately cared for or are unfit for work. This is due to organisations providing the dog on a leasing arrangement, allowing them to retain legal ownership of the dog, offering them some protection from neglectful homes. Although this depends on the charity having the resources to perform regular inspections, which are often based on physical well-being as a gauge for care, and cannot figure out what is going on internally and if emotional needs are being met. In recent years, there have been calls for a registration scheme to be set up. Currently, assistance dogs are regulated under a voluntary scheme, but there is concern that privately trained assistance dogs are not meeting acceptable standards. This has been blamed in part on the current definition of assistance dog failing to specify a standard to which the dog must be trained. The training should be in line with the standards set by Assistance Dogs International. Upon researching the laws protecting assistance animals, it was clear that there was a lack of legal protection for the welfare of the dog, instead of focusing on the challenges facing the handler as someone who requires an assistance animal, and it discriminated against them for it. In summary, it can be seen that there is a variety of assistance animals, with the primary species being a dog. They play multiple roles within society, having gone from just guiding the blind to detecting medical issues and supporting psychiatric disorders. Assistance animals are incredibly important in giving people with disabilities independence and confidence. Despite this, there is minimal literature on the welfare of these animals. There needs to be a greater academic focus onto the welfare of assistance animals. looking into what the dog gains from the human-animal bond. Currently, the main focus of research is on the benefits handlers have from their dogs, along with the best methods to train them. There is also consideration for breeding, constitution and temperament of the dogs going into training. However, they overlook the impact the work may have on the animal, in particular the changes to its environments at different stages of its career. The main welfare concern is the level of stress that these animals are exposed to, and the management of this stress to prevent it from becoming chronic, negatively impacting their health. Furthermore, these animals are experiencing little to no legal protection. There's no regulation as to how they should be kept, what hours they should work, or even what tasks they can or can't perform, which could lead to people having unrealistic expectations of what their assistance dog can do for them, impacting the welfare of the dog and potentially putting it at risk. Please explore my references if you'd like to find out more to do with assistance animals and their welfare. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation.